Hey, what's up? I'm Marty Yang, creator of the Lucky Brain podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoy. Thank you both for doing this. Appreciate it. I hear that you guys made a banger, made it doing successful.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like what went into the thinking of that, and what was kind of the feel whenever you guys are starting out making a track. What is kind of the first thing that goes through your head? Is it something like, oh, you know what, let's get a drum beat down, or how do you guys approach?
Well, I think that, not to put myself above Justin, but I kind of lead Justin to water, I guess. So I came up with this kind of banger bass idea, I guess. And I know that he's really good on melodies. And so there's kind of like these gaps, I guess, in the song that I wanted filled that I didn't really have the creative output to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Justin, I know you like chords and melodies. Yeah. Can you infuse some stuff? And he did some percussion and stuff, and he made the track feel way more like whole, which is exactly what I was looking for. And so,
that worked.
Yeah, it worked very well. I mean, at least for me, like when I'm coming up with the song, I think the backbeat of it, or the backbone of it, is the drums. So that's what like my creative process is, and then from there it just kind of flows whatever I'm in the mood for. Sometimes I want to create an atmosphere. Sometimes I want to make a track super dark and spooky, or I want to make it like light and airy. I don't even think about anything else first. So it really just kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Like music is almost like an expression of the way that you're feeling. At least for me, I play the guitar and the piano, and whatever like I'm playing on the guitar or on the piano is generally kind of what I'm feeling.
Right.
So, we gotta get some samples from you, bro.
No, please record anything that you think that we could use. That would be super sick.
Yeah, so I recorded a song. The software that I use is FL Studio. So Fruit Loops, yeah,
Fruity Loops.
Yeah, Fruit Loops. But I Justin, I have the the Shure SM7B, and I'm just taking my guitar and like kind of angling it to like put it like,
trying to get the audio just right.
Yeah, so if I do send you a sample, it'd probably be like just real, like not really mixing.
So
can I work with that? Yeah.
Can I tell you a secret that some of my favorite audio that I've ever recorded, like ever, is directly from voice memos on iPhones.
Yep.
Like boom mics are really cool, and like they're very high tech and everything and blah blah blah. Some of my favorite audio of all time is literally from a little piece of shit iPhone recording.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has such a natural, strange grittiness to it that you can, with some post-processing, really kind of like flex. And there's some like, it's so cool. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like a lot of bigger artists, their entire like they'll have scratch tracks and ideas from melodies, and it's just all in voice notes. So a lot of it starts in Apple Voice Notes. And even I was watching a Twitch stream from an artist, Nitty Gritty, and he was like, "You guys don't need a crazy microphone. Just use your iPhone. It has a really good built-in mic."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, that's so true. I don't need to drop a ton of money on a mic to get something to just sample with, or just to even start going, because the post-processing is where you really make it shine."
Chris Lake and Green Velvet made a song called Deceiver, where he goes, what you talking about? If you know house music, you know that song. They were at Holy Ship, and when they were hanging out before any of their sets, Chris Lake was like doing like a little piano riff, and Green Velvet was recording his voice on Chris Lake's iPhone, and apparently, so the story goes, Chris Lake used that sample of the voice memo into the actual song that was released.
That's sick.
Apparently that's what Green Velvet said, which is super sick, because like obviously that proves the point that you don't need high tech.
Yeah, it almost kind of feels like if you're using a shittier microphone, that there's some like nostalgia to it, like going back to the old days, like I guess from vinyl to like
It's like an authenticity thing, I think. It's like really just kind of like nitty gritty, like not to bring
I
up
can send you
DJ
guys
again.
some stuff. I play the guitar. It's pretty simple to
No,
record that
really.
on.
Voice memo it to me,
Yes.
please. We make lo-fi. We love lo-fi. We're good for lo-fi.
Yeah.
Guitar and piano are like the cornerstone of lo-fi too. And the best part about lo-fi is the shittier it sounds, the harder.
The more lo-fi it is. Yeah, exactly. That's actually a that's true.
Otherwise, I'm just going to use like RC20 or other plugins to just make it sound shittier. So it sounds, it's more of an authentic lo-fi because
I have to thank Justin for RC20. I had no idea this plugin existed, and I use it on almost every single song that I make, either for like a really like noisy kind of like strange atmosphere feeling, even like the space on it has a reverb in the plugin. It's so neat sounding. It's very different. Like, thank you, Justin. I love you.
Oh yeah, dude. I found that I was just like on YouTube and I was like, oh, top 10 lo-fi plugins. And then it was like every video and it was like, that was like the top 3. And I was like, okay, like I'll spend $60 on this or whatever it was.
Sponsor us. RC20 people, sponsor us.
What software do you guys use?
For making music,
yeah.
I am obviously the best one, Ableton.
I use Ableton too. I've used FL and I've like played around on Logic, but Ableton's the one I own and use.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. How'd you guys get into music? Like, when's the first time in your life that you started to create music?
I started like really late, and that's why I like to say I suck, and then Andrew yells at me. But so like my first musical endeavor was a guitar class in high school, which I somehow got an A in because the teacher didn't really grade or anything. And then I just never really, I mean, I was like into music, but like creating it was never a thing. And then my senior year in high school, I kind of like got exposed to like, you know, like what everyone gets exposed to, Cascade, Deadmau5, like Calvin Harris, Tiesto, like all these like legends. And then I was like, like that looks kind of, I watched all these videos of them performing and I'm like, that looks fun.
Yeah.
And then
it is.
And then I like kind of self-taught myself how to DJ. And then my one buddy who was like a professional DJ taught me how to not suck. And then after that, I was like, I really want to try to make my own music. And that started maybe like more seriously, like probably 4 or 5 years ago. But the last 2 or 3 has been much more intentful, I guess, if that's a word. But yeah, I've been like trying much harder.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Yeah. That intentional is very important because I feel like if you're not focusing on whatever you're trying to do, it's definitely a lot harder to get better at it. Collabs are cool too. I'm a big person that feeds off energy, other people's energy. The sort of like person that like you are who your friends are. And so if your friends are all like making music and shit, it's just a lot more helpful to.
It's interesting because like there's people who like say they're producers and then there's people who like actually are producers. And I feel like the people who actually know what they're doing and like take it seriously and don't just do it for 6 months because it's like the like in thing to do, those people are hard to find. Like Andrew is definitely, he's been doing it much longer than I have, but it's really hard to find people who are A, really like cool people, and B, who aren't just like in it because it's a fad, I guess.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of lucky because I only really started producing music since 2017, like 3 years ago, almost exactly. And I really didn't have any classical training or anything like that. And up until maybe the last 4 months, I really didn't feel confident in like my music, I suppose. But always like collaborating with people made me feel like, oh, like there are other people that are like, you know, are equally as bad as me in making music. So it's kind of fun to like figure this shit out together. And then I don't know what happened. I guess I've hit my stride in the last 4 or 5 months, and I have had a stupid amount of support from all places over the world. Like I've had a lot of international support, like not like big numbers, but like just simply diversity and like people reaching out. And what this, I had an EP come out like 3 weeks ago now, the number one hit that Justin and I had on the Bass House releases for on Beatport. Because of that, I have entered into like 4 or 5 different collaborations just by getting involved with people that liked my track so much with Justin that they were like, hey, like we should make something of it. Like that is what I wanted to do. I really just wanted to, you know, develop a better relationship with other producers from at least some success so that I can actually like do things with other producers. So it's been super fruitful to like actually like get involved with other people and like have a super synergetic, and even if it doesn't get like released or get like signed by a label or anything crazy like that, the experience of coming together with someone and making something completely brand new with 2 different energies is so like tantalizing. It's such a fun visceral experience. It's like it's a really good time. So
absolutely. Yeah, I've experienced that feeling, and you know, on the topic of like synergy and connecting with people, it's like you said, Justin, kind of hard to find people that you connect with. Like there's people that make good music and then you can make good music, but it's like almost like a relationship. Like if you're not like
I actually hate Justin. It's just a completely professional relationship. I actually despise him as a human being. So
There's a long line of you.
yeah, I know. I'm like number 5,000. It's chill. It's cool.
yeah,
No, for sure.
If you're able to find people that you can work with in the industry, it's truly a blessing. And also too, like I feel as human beings, we are unique and specific, and we have our own way to express our ideas. Because if you look at like some of your most favorite bands, like for me, Red Hot Chili Peppers is like a really good band for me. Sublime is a really good band for me. Incubus is a really good band for me. I like those bands. System of a Down is a really good band for me. But a lot of their songs suck ass to me. But there's like I would say, because those are my favorite bands, probably about like 60% of the songs I do like, and then about like 40%, which is what I don't like.
Right.
I mean, if you're able to create from like your own expression, there is validity in that. Like you can create some magic. You can create some fire.
Yeah, that's kind of what music is all about, is capturing that like magic, because it's like you want to capture emotion and put it into a song so it's actually like there's feeling to it and it's like real. Because when I like make music, sometimes I'll just like sit down and I'm bored and I'll just like poke around and nothing happens. But sometimes if I can actually channel emotion into it, then that's the stuff I actually want to finish.
Yeah.
And it's like my better work, I would say.
And it's kind of funny that you bring up like that you're not a fan of like, what was it, 60 or 40%?
Or like 40% of my favorite band's music. I don't like it.
So, and that's something that I've come to terms with too. And actually, I think Wookie, the DJ and producer, he does like every genre imaginable. He tweeted this out last year and said that, you know, remember that not every song is going to be a hit. And sometimes like you need to realize that something is good enough.
Yeah.
And that should be okay. Like you should be okay with that. And I think in terms of my personal growth as a producer, I've had a lot of issues like actually believing that like what I'm making is like not good enough for like anyone else to hear and like thinking it's shit. And sometimes you just really need to realize like, you know, it's good enough. It's not as good as some other things I've made, but it's good enough. And I think that for an artist is really tough to actually accept. So yeah, I mean, I'm in the same page. I think out of like my 5 favorite bands on the planet, I probably like really, really significantly, maybe like 10 songs out of like, you know, 5 albums, 50 songs, you know, in total. That's
songs that you do like. You absolutely
holy shit! They're some of the best music in the world.
Yeah.
So, you know, I hope that I continue to kind of accept that I'm not going to be like every song is going to be the best. But I think that like that's my challenge for like the rest of my whatever career I have in music, is to like accept that like, you know, what I have done, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. And that's okay. And I'm okay with that. Let's do it.
I struggle with perfection.
And that's why I yell at Justin all the time, because he's so afraid to finish any project. I want him to accept the fact that it's not going to be like Avicii God tier level, whatever. And it's just going to be Justin. It's going to be Justin, it's going to be Overdrive's own thing. And that's going to be okay. You're not going to die.
Yeah.
And that's why I yell at him, like, as much as I can. I want him to make more music, and B, I want him to be like, you know what? It's good.
Yeah. That's, I appreciate Andrew, because he definitely, like, he's always in my corner, like being like, hey, did you make music this week? He'll and we talk like almost every day, and we have for a while. I mean, like more recently, yes, but
and we've only hung out once in person. Isn't that weird?
That's the weird part.
Isn't that the strange friendship?
Yeah, we basically met on the internet, and then he played a show in Phoenix, and then we were like, hey, you're
Did we
cool
just
in real
become
life,
best
too.
friends?
Want to do karate in the garage?
Do you want to build a bunk bed?
Where you, Andrew?
I think it was after I don't know if it was before or after I met you, but Andrew went to college in Santa Barbara, and for my day job, I have a client in Santa Barbara, and I was there, and we were doing a gala, so it was black tie, full tuxedo, craziness, and he was like, dude, come see my show after. And I'm like, dude, I'm wasted at this resort right now.
I'm blacked out for work. I can't. I would love to, but I can't.
Yeah. No, but that's when I knew he was solid, because he was like, why didn't you tell me you're in town? I'm like, oh, I'm just here for work. He's like, but let's hang out. I'm like, oh, he's a cool dude.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and talking about cool dudes and talking about meeting people in the industry, I'm lucky enough where I haven't had too many experiences with people that aren't good to me in the industry. And I know that this is just the beginning of figuring out who is a good person and who is not. But I've at least been lucky enough to find people like Justin, and the label that we got on, Sub 49, the people that I've been talking to almost on a daily basis are some of the nicest people involved in the back end of music.
Yeah.
And so I'm very lucky for the moment, but I'm anticipating that disconnect where I'm going to meet someone who's not going to be a Justin, or not someone who's going to be people that I know.
Yeah.
And I'm not excited for it.
It happens, dude. I mean, I've definitely had
I'm nervous because I'm a nice guy, and I really have a hard time being not nice to people, and that gets me in trouble.
Yeah, me too. That's the issue too. I definitely have I've had friends that I don't talk to anymore just because of one thing or another. It's never a big issue. It's just kind of okay, we were friends, and now we're just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
We're on podcast. Man. That's a good blooper.
We love you.
I'm not sure I could edit that out in this one. That's cool, guys. So what's the feels now? What's kind of the next step? Do you guys feel like you're trying to collab more? Do you feel like you have some momentum now because of this track?
Well, I mean, Justin, you can start. I feel like I can go on a brief tangent with that one.
I definitely, momentum to me is everything with this kind of stuff, where, Beatport, for people listening who aren't familiar with it, is essentially the iTunes for electronic dance music. It's very specific, where on iTunes you go on genres and it's EDM and that's it. Whereas Beatport is every subgenre.
House, deep house, tech house, future house, bass house, dubstep, trance, rhythm,
everything. So, and people who are really tied into that specific genre of EDM are looking at these charts. So being able to put on a resume, hey, I had a number 1, release in a subgenre and a number 2 overall release on that is huge. That's crazy. So momentum, I want to carry the momentum. Andrew's yelling at me to carry the momentum. So that's my goal, is I'm trying to make music every day and just use this to my advantage to really get that next one. Cause it's this is kind of like my day job is in sales. And literally sales is all about, it's not what you've done for me last week. What did you do for me today? So in music, I like to relate to sales a lot, because essentially it is. Like, you have a product, you're selling it, but it happens to be art. So you have to like, there's whole, I mean, I guess it works with business too, because like with branding and everything, it all kind of ties into business. And that's what I like about it, is like, it's this art and business fusion, which is like, I feel like encapsulates like my whole like being, I guess.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're definitely, and you're technical too. So that's extremely helpful. It's like you make music through computers, through software. Yeah.
I think the unfortunate part is that as much as I love making music, because I want to make it my full-time life, you have to think of it as a business.
Yeah.
There is no world or universe in which, if you want to do what I do full-time in my head, there is no way to do that unless I think about the product that I'm selling on a daily basis. And I think, unfortunately, I was actually having this conversation with a buddy of mine from Santa Barbara last night, thinking even if you're the most talented kid on the planet, people won't know who you are or if you exist if you don't put yourself out there and you don't market yourself. And then on top of that, if you don't market yourself, then you need a brand, and then you need the content. And I think, at least for me with this release, I have been in a mental state where I didn't really care about content. I didn't really care about, I was like, oh, like, I'll put a song out there, blah, 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 whatever. Like, no, I have the most momentum I have ever felt in my entire life. And it's going to be followed up with, I think, realistically speaking, my workflow, ask Justin, my workflow is insane. My ability to finish a track is stupid. And I'm not saying that all tracks are good. But with the workflow that I have, my goal is to release a self-release track on like all platforms every 2 weeks or like every 3 weeks. So that, having collaborations with people, and like my motivation's at an all-time high. This quarantine for me, I was working like 60 hours a week. Going 100 to 0 and not doing anything and actually like hopping my wheelhouse and like developing the skills, I have come to terms with like, this is what I meant for. Like, I don't care about anything else. This is exactly what I'm meant to do, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And so the fact that Justin and I got this release has been a drastically life-changing moment for me. Not necessarily physically, financially, but mentally, I feel like I'm an enlightened human being. So I'm ready to grab Justin's like fucking ear, and I'm gonna like drag him with me to wherever I go, and he's gonna have to deal with it.
I mean, I'm down, dude. Like that's what I'm trying to do. It's hard to find people who can like.
And like, I think the unfortunate part too is like, I'm not a dog eat dog kind of like lone wolf type, which gets me, as I said, in trouble. So the fact that I'm so nice and friendly with other producers may get me in trouble in the future, because I'm not necessarily giving myself enough credit to do things on my own.
Yeah.
But I want to take my momentum and enthusiasm and my willingness to persevere and my production skill, and I want to bring people into my world with me.
Yeah, that's
which is impossible. I can't do that with everyone. I can't give that much of myself to everyone that I know that is in the same world, but I'm going to fucking try really hard. So it's my goal.
Here, Andrew. We'll wrap this up, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys sharing. This is one thing that I really love to do. It helps me to kind of get the rub off you guys, because you guys are definitely – you guys definitely light up when you're talking about this type of stuff. And that's amazing. That's amazing, because I feel like there's too many people that don't light up about, what they're talking about. So
nothing makes me tick more. Nothing else. This is it.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Marty.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, of course, Marty. Thanks for having me, dude. I'm glad
nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you guys.
Hey, what's up? I'm Marty Yang, creator of the Lucky Brain podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoy.